Hello everyone, welcome to the Java example section. In this section, I'm going to play a game of 3 dice. The idea is like this. I choose a number and remember that number. So I can choose a number between 1 and 6. Okay. And after choosing a certain number, I throw 3 dice for 5 times. So altogether, I would have 15 numbers coming from the 3 dice. And I would count the number of occurrences of my chosen number against those 15 results. And then the computer would take my role and play the same game. So the computer would also get the number of occurrences of its chosen number out of the 15 tosses. Okay. If I can get more chosen numbers than the computer does, I would win the game. Otherwise, the computer would win the game. Now let's try to implement this game. Because I need to accept the user input of the chosen number, I need a scanner object. So I need to import the scanner library first. Also, I need to import the random library because I need the computer to give me a certain chosen number in order to let it count the number of occurrences of that number after its own trials. Okay, let us go to the driver program directly in order to outline the rules of the game. Okay. Okay, I have 3 dice, and for each of 3 dice, I would have 5 trials. I need 2 variables to remember the number of occurrences of my chosen number and the computer's chosen number. So at the beginning, they are all zeros because I haven't started the game yet. Okay, here I have a random object whose variable is called choice. And I need this object to generate a random number for my computer to play with. Now I create a scanner object in order to receive the input of my choice. So I receive the input from the keyboard in order to let the computer program know my choice of the number. Now I give a prompt to let the user input his or her choice. Okay, I set up an integer primitive called player target to remember the number coming from the user input. So I use the scanner object together with the nextInt method. Now I can create a game object that I will do later. For this game object, I would have a constructor as follows. I would specify the number of dice in this game together with the number of trials in this game. So in my case, num dice is 3, trials is 5. Okay, the player points would be returned by the play method for a game object. Okay, and here the first actual parameter is simply the name of the player, and the second actual parameter is simply the user input obtained by the scanner or object. Now this finishes the game of the user, and then I can do pretty much the same thing for the computer role. Okay. So I can let the computer set up a certain random number between 1 and 6. In order to generate a number between 1 and 6, I need to use this idea. Next int 6 means that I would have a number between 0 and 5, which is not my target region. In order to make my choice to be between 1 and 6 for the computer to choose, I would add 1 to the final answer coming from the next int method. So now the computer target would be an integer between 1 and 6. Okay. Now I simply tell the user that the computer has chosen a certain number. Now computer would generate a game object. Now, the computer would generate a game object which uses the same number of dice and the same number of trials. Okay, and now the reference variable to the second game object is called computer. Now the computer reference variable can tell the game object to play the game by passing the name of the opponent together with the target generated by the next int method coming from the random object called choice. Okay, and the number of points obtained by the computer would be stored in the computer points primitive. Okay, so now 2 points from the player and the computer are obtained, so I can compare them to see which wins the game. If player gains more points than the computer, I would say the user wins. On the other hand, if the player has got fewer points than the computer would win the game. If the 2 marks are the same, that means the game would become a draw game. Since I used the scanner object called scan here, I need to close the scanner object at the end. Okay, this completes the driver program. So now I can go to the game.java file in order to complete the game constructor and the methods. Okay. How can I do the game class? I need to create this scanner object together with the random object. So I need to import the two libraries first. Okay, then I can go to the game class. My constructor requires me to input the number of dice and the number of trials as mentioned in the driver program. Here. So when I construct a new game object, I need to input the number of dice and the number of trials. I need a certain random object called rand. I also need a scanner object called scan. The reason I need a scanner object is that I need to allow the user to press enter. So the scanner object is going to receive the enter key. Okay, now I go to the constructor. So I put the number of dice and the number of trials coming from the constructor to the instance variables for a certain game object. Okay. I'll do the same thing for the rand instance variable and the scan instance variable. Okay. Now I can go to the play method, which returns the number of occurrences of the target number out of the 15 results. Okay, when we go back to the driver program, we can see how we need to input into the play method. Okay, the first value to put into the play method is the name of the player, and the second value to put into the play method is the player target or the computer target. So for each round, I need an array to remember the results coming from the tosses. Okay. Here I use a local variable called point to remember the number of occurrences of my target number. And that value will be returned as the answer coming from the play method. Now I do the dice tossing. Okay, here I would do the dice tossing for 5 times in my case, indicated by the trials variable. Okay, so the number of dice for each toss would be 3. So in this case, I would simply generate 3 dice coming from the random object. Okay. Remember, this setup would let me return an integer between 1 and 6 in order to simulate the die tossing. Okay. When one round of toss is complete, I can print out the result coming from this round. I can prompt the user to press enter. And then I can tell the scanner object whose reference variable is called scan to receive the enter key by using the next line method. And after receiving the enter key, the computer is going to print out the result coming from the draw. Okay, I simply use a for each loop to help me print out the content in the dice array. Okay. Okay, I open a new line for my further outputs to the console. And then now I check the number of points that matches the chosen target. Okay. If each die is equal to my target, I would add the number of points by 1. Okay. So after finishing the outer for loop, I will simply print out the number of points obtained by the player or by the computer. Okay, here who means the name of the player indicated by the formal parameter of the play method. And here points is simply the variable obtained by finding out the number of occurrences that is the same as my target number. And finally, I need to return this variable as the value coming from the play method. So let me save it and run the driver program in order to see the game. Now I choose my target number. For now, I would choose 1. So I want as many ones as I wish. Okay, I would have the first draw, which has no ones into in my first round. So I go to the second round, no ones. Let me go to the third round. I have 1, 1, okay. The fourth round, I have one more 1, so I have 2 ones now. And the fifth round gives me one more 1, so I will have 3 ones. So altogether I will have 3 points. And the computer is doing the same thing as I did previously. So the computer is going to target 4 in all his 5 rounds. So let me see the first round result. Oh, computer has got 1 4. The second round, oh, altogether computer has got 3 4s. The third round has no 4. The fourth round has 1 4. So altogether the computer has already got 4 4s. How about the final round? Final round has also got 2 4s. So altogether the computer has got 6 4s. In this case, the computer wins the game. So this completes the game of 3 dice. My code is intuitive and straightforward, but it may not be the best or the most efficient approach to the problem. If you can suggest any idea to improve my code, please do so on the comments section below the video. If you like this video, please give me a like and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.